Hi there, this is Chris. Today we're going to look at the value of chicken breast. Chicken breast, either boneless, skinless, that you can buy for about $1.99 a pound on average at Walmart, or chicken on the bone with the skin on when you can find it for a really low price. Like I did at Kroger this week, I found it for 88 cents a pound. So we're going to go ahead and first take some chicken off the bone. So these chicken are so big, and I'm going to tell you how to stretch those too. So here is one of the chicken breasts. I'm going to use my Pampered Chef utility knife for this. Okay. Now, the first thing you want to do is turn it over. If you have the bone right there where you can still feel it, then there's one way to cut it. Versus, and I should have looked for one of these. I may not even have one. Sometimes you don't have that. Like this, and it's already kind of cut, and it's just like that. I'll do both ways so you can see, because to cut them it's a little bit different. Okay. Training fat, we'll take care of that. So for the big thick one with the bone on it, I like to start on the top. I like to start on the top on the thinner side where this rib cage is, and I will feel for where the bone meets the meat, and just try to slide right along the rib cage, right over the top of the rib cage and into the meat. Now see these short little slices that I'm making? I'm not going too deep. Sometimes you'll turn the knife over and get through a piece of tissue. And I just kind of scrape, little tiny scrapes at a time. And the reason I do that is to, if I run into something like that little bump of bone, I can get around it. Plus, you don't lose a lot of meat. If I were to just go in there and hack at it, I would lose a lot of the meat. So I go rather slowly, and I'm gonna go back and forth up through the top, down through the bottom. Like I mentioned, you can get underneath it this way to disconnect some of that connective tissue so that it's easier to continue to just slice little slices. Keep your fingers away from it. You are gonna need a sharp knife for this, or it's just not gonna cooperate with you and it's not gonna be worth your time. Once I get it almost to the back, almost to the end, I will flip it over and insert my knife. I do that safely. Insert my knife on this side so that I've cut through. Now I can start sawing at the top. Try to turn it this way so you can see. Sawing at the top, a little bit at a time. And get in there. Just keep going, a little bit at a time. Have some patience. You don't rush this, or you'll lose a lot of the meat. See how we're keeping most of it intact? Again, sometimes going this way to get through. Now, once you get up here into the top where the wing comes, you're going to start to feel some bone. So feel around with your fingers for the bone and try to get around them with the tip of your knife, because we can take the bone out. Keep your fingers out of the way. Might have to go down through the top. Oh, I see. You'll need your fingers. You'll need so don't cut them off. You'll need your fingers to feel around for what the bone feels like. If it's a hole, if it's got a tip on it or not. If you've got a lot of fat on it, just go ahead and cut it off. Yeah, this one's fighting with me a little bit, but we'll get in there. We will win. Here we go. And if you really can't get around it, you might have to sacrifice a little bit of the meat to get through it. There we go. I chopped around it. And then disconnect it. Cut through the skin. Okay. So see, it was this piece right here with the bone that I had to sacrifice a little bit of meat, but pretty clean, right? Pretty clean. Now save these. One of the benefits of buying meat on the bone is that you can save them in a zip top bag and make chicken stock out of it. Your own chicken stock. You save a lot of money that way. Okay. Now to take the skin off, you could just rip it off, but see, it's pretty connected. So I use the tip of my knife to disconnect it. See how fast that comes off? Use the tip of your knife to disconnect it if you need to, where it's connected. Now sometimes I leave the skin on. Whoops, I cut a little bit through my flesh. I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes I leave the skin on depending on the application of what I'm going to be cooking. So if I'm going to do just a pan-seared chicken breast, I'll like to leave it on because, like, if you were having a duck breast, think about it, you would leave the skin on. So I like the skin on once in a while. Obviously, if you're doing a stir fry or you want to eat healthier entirely and you just want to cut the fat out of your diet, then by all means, take the skin off. So here I have a nice piece of chicken. Now I've done the math on this, and to tell you the truth, it's not a huge savings. So I started out with $4.29 worth of chicken breast. That was at 88 cents a pound. It was 4 pounds, 14 ounces before I cut all the bone off and took all the skin off. And I ended up with 2.5 pounds. Now, when you take that $4.29 divided by the 2.5 pounds, come out to $1.71 per pound. So it is cheaper. It is still cheaper, and you get the benefit of the bone that I'm going to use for chicken stock. So it is a cost savings. It's just a matter of a question, is it worth your time and your effort to cut the chicken off the bone? What it taught me is that I don't feel so bad when I do pay $1.99 a pound for boneless, skinless chicken breast if I don't want to go through the hassle of doing this. But if I've got the time like I do this morning, I'm going to buy the value pack with the skin and the bone on, and I'm going to cut it all myself and prep it ahead. So I'm not done prepping this. This is a thick piece of chicken. As a matter of fact, let's weigh that. See what we've got going on here with this chicken. I'm going to put a paper towel down so I don't put it directly on my scale. I don't have a plate. This one chicken breast weighs 12 ounces. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't eat 12 ounces of chicken at a sitting. As a matter of fact, 6 ounces is probably perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half. Now, I can do this a couple ways, and I like to do it a couple ways, actually. I could put this or inside a zip top gallon-sized bag and then pound it out. And here's my favorite tool, not a meat mallet, but a rolling pin. Don't buy a meat mallet if you don't already have one. This is the way to go. It's flat. I'm not going to do it on camera because I'm not going to make a bunch of noise, but it's flat. It works brilliantly, and now it's a multitasker, as Alton Brown used to say. Now this is a quick cutter by Pampered Chef. If you open it up, you'll see it's got plates in it that squish or move. The top one and the bottom one squish up and down. The benefit of that, and again, I should have had a piece of plastic, but I don't, so I'm going to use paper towels so I don't get it all dirty. I'm going to clean it anyway, but this way I really don't have chicken directly on it. You put the chicken breast in, or anything that you want to cut in half evenly, inside the chamber, and then you press it down, and then you take a knife. I'm going to use chef's knife for this. Press it down, then you take a knife and you follow along right on the top of the other side. The top of the bottom, I should say, and cut all the way through to the back. Now open it up, and I have beautifully cut in half chicken breast. That are already thinned out in portions without needing me to. One is a little smaller than the other. It's a thick piece of chicken. Press a little harder or have plastic, and that'll take care of that. But you can pound this out a little thinner if you like. The nice thing about this is it's going to have even cooking throughout. See how nice and even that is? Even cooking throughout, where you wouldn't have if you had tried to cook the whole chicken breast the way that it is. So always pound your chicken or slice it lengthwise to cut it in half so that you stretch it further. You're not overeating, you're not wasting food, and you're cooking evenly, and you don't have parts of your chicken that are way overdone and others that are underdone. So save those chicken bones and make a stock. A quick way to make a stock is just put it in a stock pot full of water, fill the water just over the top of the bones. You're going to add all sorts of any kinds of vegetables that you have that are aging, or if you don't have aging vegetables, the 3 vegetables you're always going to want to include are carrots, celery, and onion. And you can put the leaves of the celery in and everything. You can put the skins of the carrots and the skins, even the paper skins of the onion right inside the stock, and put it in a simmer. You don't want it boiling crazy, but you want little bubbles coming up to the top so that it's at temperature. And you're going to want to let that reduce for about 4 to 6 hours. Even 8 is better if you've got all day. The house smells wonderful. It smells like you're making chicken soup, because eventually you will be. And then you strain it, and you can store it in I like to store mine in zip top bags in 1 cup measurements. So I always have 8 ounces to go to. It defrosts really quickly because obviously it's going to freeze flat, and that defrosts in no time. Or if you're just going to add a little tiny splash of chicken stock to a dish, you can also freeze them in ice cube trays, which is another great way, because then you can just take a frozen ice cube right out of it and put it right into your hot pan and add your chicken stock right away. Much more economical. So when you factor all of that in, buying chicken on the bone and with the skin on is a better value, as long as you can find it for under $1 a pound. I wouldn't pay more than that. And I also wouldn't pay more than $2 a pound for boneless, skinless, because I know where to get it. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.